Hey guys, Thunderset here, finishing up the Synchro Fusion series with what I thought would be the best, but I did not turn out to be so, mainly because their boss monster didn't really do anything extra. Sorry, my computer is taking forever. Mostly because Ultimate Axon Kicker is not as good as Hyper Psychic Blaster. He's just a weaker Hyper Psychic Blaster, so it doesn't make much sense. The only difference is this card cannot be destroyed by card effects, but at 2900 he's kind of easy to swing over, so I was a little let down. I was really looking forward to this one, but it was still fun to revisit Synchro deck, the Psychic Synchro decks. I've added in new techs. Of course, that's pretty much what Miracle Synchro Fusion has evolved into. It's just a comeback tech into a Synchro deck, which is something it needs, because Synchro decks do have a way of blowing all their resources, and then you do need a comeback. This is a comeback in one card. If your graveyard's full of the perfect materials, you're a comeback in one card. It's real easy. If your hand's clogged up with your support cards, you can get a monster out to support. It works out really well. But ultimately, that's what it is. You don't want to give too much room to this boss monster or revolve too much of your deck around it, like using Master of Fusions. In the way I am, I virtually never used Master of Fusions, so try a different skill. And stuff other than that, it was just the basic boys getting most of the heavy work done. He was just your ace in a hole, really, like I'm saying. That's why we're only running 4 forms of destruction. I absolutely love Forbidden Lance. Forbidden Lance is going to be in every deck I'm going to be using in the KC Cup. You should use a lot of it too. It works great versus Dark Magician, and it just has so much utility. It finds a lot of use in a lot of situations, so I definitely recommend it. Other than that, it's a basic Psychic deck. I won't go over too much, and a lot of the basic Psychic moves in the replays, but I do have some interesting interactions with Forbidden Lance and just stuff to show you. So I hope you guys enjoyed the Synchro Fusions. They weren't as cool as I thought they'd be, but it's still something new. So thanks for watching, guys. Okay, Zane versus Zane. And neither of us are playing Cyber Dragons. Can you believe that? So here we're going second. Our opponent has no personality without any skins or sleeves. We top deck a Miracle Synchro Fusion, which should be very interesting. We go with the Hyper Psychic Riser. Our opponent's going to hit us with a Canadia. Here he has a Nalu to hit us in defense mode, but that's going to give us a double search. We top deck just more of the same monsters, but we get our Serene Psychic, which pretty much the exact same play, except this time it's a Psychic Nightmare. Psychic Wielder hits the Nalu. We see a Sphere Kaiba in his hand, so now we know. We gain a 1,000 attack from his effect, guessing correctly. We Miracle Synchro Fusion into our Axon Kicker, try to do some pierce. Our opponent uses his Sphere Kaiba, has a Fortress Warrior. So we're going to Cosmic Cyclone, the card he just set, because that middle one's probably harmless. Then we normal summon our Psychic Wielder. We get rid of our Psychic Nightmare for a Hyper Psychic Blaster, but what we really wanted was Wielder's effect to get away from that boy. He uses a Hallucigenia, but that is nowhere near enough to stop us from lethal. Good old Ultimate Axon Kicker, guys. Great stuff. Okay, here we are facing a Yami Yugi. Going first. So like I said, you can change up the skill. I virtually never use Master of Fusions. And there'd be a lot of opportunities. You lose 1,000 life points often, but I just never got an opportunity. So here we start off with some monsters, tuners and non-tuners, and a Miracle Synchro Fusion. So we're going to start off with the Hyper Psychic Riser from a Wielder and a Serene Psychic Witch. We also have our Miracle Fusion. We get a Forbidden Lance. So our opponent tries to hit us with a Treacherous Trap Hole. We're going to Forbidden Lance our Hyper Psychic Riser and still hit him for 1,200. He also set a field spell, which makes me think Ancient Gear. Sets a Planet Pathfinder. Really want to get to that field spell, so he probably has something to destroy it. We destroy his double Cyclone. Now we Miracle Synchro Fusion our Hyper Psychic Riser and a Serene Psychic Witch into an Axon Kicker, hit him for lethal. Great stuff, guys. Nice and easy monster from a single card. Great stuff. Okay, here's Bastion. Going first. Someone asked me the other day who's the hardest character to unlock, and I said it was Bastion. You have to get like crazy amount of banishes to get his unlock missions. Anyway, it's a combo you've seen before. Serene Psychic Witch and a Wielder into a Hyper Psychic Riser and a Forbidden Lance to stop us. Our opponent uses a Cosmo Brain. You gotta remember, Cosmo Brain cannot use his effect because he has more attack than Hyper Psychic Riser. So, he's trying to Regeki break our Hyper Psychic Riser. Forbidden Lance will protect us, but he was able to discard a White Stone of Ancients. Almost snuck it by us. Here, we're going to use a Hyper Psychic Blaster. We get to use our second Forbidden Lance on the 3100 Cosmo Brain to get over him. Now we're pretty safe from a Blue Eyes. He brings out a Blue Eyes Solid Dragon. Tries to Regeki break our Hyper Psychic Blaster, successfully does. Gets another, or no, sorry, that's just a search with his White Stone of Ancients. Hits us with just the Solid Dragon. We get a perfect top deck of a Tracker and a Wielder. That's going to be a Wielder effect to destroy that Solid Dragon, but he gets to negate the effect and bring out a Blue Eyes because it targets a dragon or something. I think that's the trigger. Anyway, we have our Nightmare. Nightmare's going to guess monster because, you know, it's got to be a monster in his hand, and it was. Just to swing over the Blue Eyes. He sets a monster. We get a normal summon our Psychic Commander. Now check this out, guys. I didn't know this about Psychic Commander's effect, but you can activate it versus a face-down monster. I activate it without knowing what this monster is whatsoever. Watch this. So he guesses correctly, not really a big deal. Used my effect before you even see him. I didn't even need it, but I did it just to be safe. Hit him for 4k. Absolutely crazy stuff, guys. Okay, here we are facing old school Joey Wheeler. Both trying to not rank down here. He's using a 25 card field of warriors, so probably not the best. Here we have a Tracker and a Commander, so we're pretty set. Our opponent is 6 Samurai, 2700. Here's where he messes up. He banishes all his graveyard, which is the Fuma he needed in his graveyard to survive this turn, but he doesn't get him. We top deck a Wielder, so that's a Tracker into a Wielder. Had he a Fuma, he could have protected his Shien. Had this, I don't even know what he is, Chancellor dude, been an actual 6 Samurai monster, he could have protected his Shien. But that guy is none of those things, so I get to come out, destroy his Shien with a Wielder. I get to use a Telekinesis on a dual wield that was not live, swing to his monster all in one turn. Absolutely devastating, guys. Crazy stuff. Okay, here we are versus an old school Kaiba. Going first. He's trying to get that dual level. He's using peak performance. Here we already have a Synchro monster. And oh, I remember this duel. So you guys are going to see a real interesting interaction with Forbidden Lance and the effects of Hyper Psychic Riser. So our opponent throws a Wervin. He is a Red Eyes Fusion. He has his Red Eyes Fusion in hand, obviously. That's a Slash Dragon. Now, with Hyper Psychic Riser, if you have more attack than him, you cannot use your effects. So he gets Malevolent Nuzzler. It's just an equip card, essentially. Now, we're going to hit him with Forbidden Lance. Remember, he has more attack than Hyper Psychic Riser. He can't use his effect to negate our Forbidden Lance, which means Forbidden Lance is going to target on that boy, make him immune to the effects of spell and trap cards, which means immune to Malevolent Nuzzler and immune to Mountain, which makes him his pure 2800 attack. He's about to lose all that attack right now, and then he'll have to suicide 2000 into my Hyper Psychic Riser. As you see there, he was questioning to use Malevolent Nuzzler, but he does not. We get our tuner and non-tuner back from using Hyper Psychic Riser's destruction effect. We normal summon Serene Psychic Witch, special summon a Tracker, special summon a Wielder. That's a 3k boy versus 1400. Now, I guess spell card, because he should have spell cards, right? Red Eyes don't usually have monster cards, he had cards in his hand, but he had a Red Eye Spirit that he didn't set. Like, why? What possible reason would you have to not set that Spirit? Don't ask me, guys. So anyway, this is just a basic Psychic Synchro deck, not much is new. As for Miracle Synchro Fusion, guys, it's just a good tech, and I do believe it is worth a slot in any deck that can naturally run it, and that includes Fortune Ladies, that includes this deck. It's worth the slot. Just add in some Miracle Synchro Fusions, use up one extra deck slot. It works out really well. I definitely recommend it. But as for revolving decks around it like I did, it doesn't really add to the decks aiming for their boss monsters any faster, so don't worry about things like Master Fusion and stuff like that. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for watching.